Alright, ladies and gents, let's get this party started, like it says in the song. Never be in a hurry when you start a practice session. Understand that both the body and the mind are organic. And therefore it doesn't work like a machine. And that's also something that requires patience. Relax eyes, relax mouth. Remember those two, eyes and mouth. It's a handy little trick that stops the seeking mode tied to the eyes and makes the internal chatter quieter. Now it's summertime and it's hot, so we actually leave windows and doors open to let the air flow through building, flow through our houses. Similarly, let the body open. Another way of describing that would be to say, let energies flow freely. Thought energy, emotional energy. Physically you feel that there is no conscious or subconscious holding, physical tensing. Laitatko sä Helena tuo ikkuna silleen, että se on kuitenkin sieltä ylhäältä auki? Se häiritsee nyt mua se kohina. Ruins my concentration when it's... Yes. Completely ruins my concentration. What often happens when people meditate, not just Amrita Mandala folks, but people in general, when they start meditating and relaxing, is that the body quiets down, the pulse and the breath quiets down, and the thoughts of the mind, activities of the mind become less, so the mind becomes quiet. But there is also kind of settling into dullness, which is the absence of brightness, absence of clarity. And if I used analogy to describe what kind of clarity our basic being has, it's very crisp, like a winter night. During cold winter nights, the moon is up and the light of the moon illuminates, crisp like that, clear. Yesterday we were doing a little bit of breathing practices with the 3 pure centers, also known as dantians in Chinese system, tandens in Japanese, and there's a term in Hindi for them that I now don't remember. Maybe it's khanda, something like that. 3 khandas, 3 dantians. And the one in the head, so 3 dantians, just to be clear, these 3 about fist size areas in the middle of the head, inside the chest, and inside the belly. On the center line, if you look at the human body from the side, these 3 centers are in direct line in the center line of the body. And clarity, Dharmakaya aspect, wisdom aspect, is related with the one in the head. And to make it more apparent, it's why we relax eyes and mouth. And the reason why I mentioned this in the first place, about the dullness, about the relaxation, about the lack of clarity, because I feel a bit of lack of clarity from our group. So there is nothing special with that clarity. It's just that the mind becomes clear, one's energy becomes clear, and there is also, because it is clarity, this gives the function of discrimination to our minds, being able to discriminate, discern. I wonder if I can use that word in English. Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm saying, but there's a bodhisattva for that, and it's Manjushri bodhisattva. Clarity of mind enables you to see and discriminate between things clearly, whatever things they are. Also, of course, clarity is like an aspect of sanity and groundedness. Clarity is an aspect of absolute, genuine, pure love as well. If love doesn't have clarity, what is it? It's murky love, it's blind love, it's crazy love, like you might remember from your teen years. I do from mine. So head related with, if we discuss in terms of kayas, three bodies of Buddha Dharma, Dharmakaya. And it's not solely related with the head center, but mostly, definitely mostly. What is wisdom in the first place? Wisdom versus ignorance. Ignorance means that we believe ourselves to be isolated, separate entities. I's, selves, me's. So it's confusion. And from that confusion comes ignorance and ignorant actions. Wisdom is not having that. And wisdom doesn't mean like a book wisdom, acquiring information. This is a very, very common misunderstanding. People start acquiring, reading massive volumes of scriptures, believing they are acquiring wisdom, but actually wisdom is, it makes you simpler. Not more complicated. It gives you relief from confusion. And relief from confusion, that wisdom is that of simplicity. That clarity is simplicity. Simple. So to be able to be wise, you have to have a clear mind, clear head, clear discernment. Being wise in the context of Dharma doesn't mean, pulling fancy, impressive book quotes or Oriental terms, Sanskrit, Tibetan, Chinese, whatever. That is not wisdom. Wisdom is absence of self-based ignorance. Then the second center of the three, inside the chest. Again, fist-size area there that is never colored or distorted by karmic, samsaric files, recordings, always remains pure. And this is where yesterday I was speaking about trauma and how it makes the heart freeze so that we are unable to feel love and compassion towards ourselves or others. And it doesn't mean completely unable, but it puts a barrier. But this is the center of, in Buddha Dharma, it is described as aliveness, kindness. What is aliveness? What is kindness? What is love? what is compassion? How do these characteristics feel like? And where do we feel them? And we also have to be specific. Aliveness of what? Kindness of what? Love and compassion of what? We are talking about our innate, natural, spontaneous ability is a bit problematic, but the qualities of our own natural state that we automatically have. Instead of feeling with the heart and seeing with the eyes of doubt and judgment, negative judgment, instead of looking at things with the heart that hurts, is in pain, is anxious, looking at things with this vibrant aliveness. And kindness that is not like putting like a how to say sugar coat on things, making your voice sound very kind, doing very kind things. No, that's not kindness. To many practitioners, that's the kindness they think what kindness is. But we're not talking about this superficial, profound kindness. The kind of spontaneous, innate kindness that means these pure qualities of ours, this foundational goodness of ours. And this foundational goodness is towards ourselves and towards others. And isn't it that when we are suffering on daily basis from trauma and delusion, that exactly we are unable to do, unable to live that way? When we speak of, I often nowadays speak of pure radiance of our nature, pure radiance, pure qualities. That's what it means. Clear head, sober head, heart, and the whole body that is alive. It's the very aliveness of our physical bodies, aliveness of our subtle bodies, astral, causal, which is the aliveness we're talking about. And the beauty of it, the beauty of our basic being becomes more and more apparent the more we heal, the more we remove those distortions. So when we, I wouldn't want to say meditate on these pure centers like this, but kind of like become aware of them, these places, these areas. We also become aware of what they are and what they do. And what do they do? It's kind of like this fist-sized pure center. There, it's like a pure little pure land inside your chest, with many countless Buddhas, the power of the Buddha there radiating outwards. And what we did yesterday when we moved some energy, did the breathing exercise with the mantras, we help it a little bit. We could spend the whole retreat going through the three centers and just kind of admire what they do. Once we're able to perceive and detect what they do naturally, spontaneously, we could just admire and keep admiring that. And it would have healing and purification effect. And this would be an excellent retreat. However, there is this thing called practices of yoga, yoga of channels, yoga of deities, yoga of gurus, where we have these different practices that we use to make our recovery and the revealing of the original body of light and wisdom quicker. That's what we did. And when we expanded with exhalations energy to all the other parts of the body, from the head, from the heart, from the gut, we are washing through the meridian field. Washing, cleaning the meridian field, removing those files from there. What is extra files. Some of you might be have had some interest and might have done some Taoist practices. And this is an excellent form of Dantian practice, pure center practice. Just admiring the unfolding of these Dantians. There are 3 inside the body and 4th outside the body at both extreme ends of the vertical pillar. So the 4th one is the 2 together, below and above. The thing is, if you know what the Dantian, what the pure center is, if it has been pointed out to you, then you will be able to do this admiration practice. If it hasn't been pointed out by a able teacher, then it is very difficult to do anything with it. This is certainly my experience from both Taoist training, Zen training, and the way how I finally got it was because of a Dzogchen master who pointed out these 3 centers. And this experience I'm passing to you now. So enjoy it. It's kind of like, isn't it? It's kind of like a floodgates of this beautiful, beautiful nectar. My guru Sivakami called it liquid love. Liquid love. That when the meridian system is pure, there is this liquid love coursing through it. Totally clear love, liquid love, that is very sweet, tastes like nectar, tastes like delicious fruits. And this is also one of the basic teachings in our both in Rainbow Body Yoga and Amrita Kriya is whole body smile. This is where the smile comes from this fundamental joyfulness, fundamental playfulness. That is already in us, but we have to connect with that again. You have to feel that and be with the feeling, and that feeling makes your whole body lit up, makes your whole body alive, makes your whole body smile. So the main point of smiling practice. I call it heart smile, whole body smile. Is not that you start turning the corners of your mouth up. That is not the main point. The main point is that you actually feel this joyfulness. And this can make you physically smile at moments. But the physical smile is not the main point. I've seen so many people throughout decades doing smiling practice like, oh my god, like gluing a smile on their face. Completely not touching the heart at all. And then the third, pure center, lower dantian, tanden hara in the gut. Again, fist size area. There in the middle. Always remains pure. Don't start focusing on it. Do not start concentrating on it. Like trying to, figuratively speaking, like trying to press it with your finger. Don't do that. Just admire it. Like you observe a flower bud opening in the morning in the sun. If you start yanking the flower bud open, you will break the flower. Instead, you just admire how it unfolds itself. And it will. That's what a flower does. This is a really basic misunderstanding. I'm sad to say that I haven't seen a single tradition or lineage that approached the tandem practice like this. They always start poking it, focusing it, doing something to it. And it is superficial. There is energetical some effects from it, but the natural state will surely goes unrecognized before, during and after. That's not how it works. But when you know how it works, then it changes lives. And not just a little bit, puts an end to samsara. Makes pure light radiate out of you. Returns you to your original condition. Puts an end to this borrowed condition, samsaric condition, self-based, trauma-based. incredibly powerful because of the transformative power. The way how the astral body, meridian body is built, how the meridian lines, channels are constructed, it's kind of like one way to describe it is that inside the body, the whole space inside the body is filled with these tubes. They go up and down and sideways, and they are all connected to each other. Another way to look at it would be to, if you think of like a natural fabric, for example, a field of grass. It's like the whole space inside the body is connected through that fabric, grass-like fabric, which is this meridian fabric. And what we did yesterday, by breathing into these three pure centers and then expanding with exhalation, expanding inside the body, is simply to access all of these channels and purify them. So the way how knots of trauma, KNOTs of trauma, are stored in the body is that they are like lumps, like knots, these big knots somewhere in the body. People have told me that they have a knot in the back of the head. Somebody has a knot in the throat, bundle in the throat, in the heart, in the calves, in the lower legs, in the tailbone, in the gut, and they vary in size. Might be small, maybe like 1 centimeter in diameter, and can be bigger, maybe like a 10 centimeter in length. And these lumps, I call them lumps and knots because just like actually like a grass, like plants, soft plants, the channels themselves are soft. And energy, when pranic energy, bindu energy, when there is no traumatic file, energy just courses through meridians, just like they do through nadis. But when there is a trauma stored in there, it becomes like there's a root of trauma, causing of traumatic experience or experiences, and all that other thing, psychological issues, grow on that as long as the trauma keeps growing, as long as we do not start healing it. So hardened meridians. Some of you are, I assume many of you are familiar with where your lumps of trauma are. And some of you might be also familiar with how some other areas in your meridians are on their way or were on their way of getting hardened. Agastya called these traumatized areas that are not yet hard infected channels. Infected. But what happens, you might notice this, and you should be able to notice it, that wherever your trauma knot is in the body, when you simply start admiring these pure centers, you feel that these lumps of trauma start melting and momentarily disappear. Why? Because the channels are connected. All of these channels are connected. So if for example you're having lumps in your calf, in the lower leg, and you start admiring the gut center, they start softening like butter on a frying pan and dissolving momentarily. And then you just keep repeating that, keep repeating that, keep repeating that. That's the method. It is pointless if there is a hardened trauma and you keep dang 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 mani pe me hung. It is pointless to do that if the trauma doesn't respond to it. Bombarding with mantras. But it is also true, and my experience, that you might try to do some healing and you feel the that burning knot of trauma somewhere in your body, and okay, I'll try to relax, with the intention that it will also relax the trauma knot. Might work sometimes, definitely doesn't work all the time. So trauma knots, hardened trauma, has a life on their own, and they're, you know, they're the way how they express, how they are, how the trauma becomes active. It's random and it's compulsive. It has a life of its own. And something like we can consciously and through our will, we can relax the body, or we can say mantras, we can do this and that, all these different practices. But these trauma knots can be 100% unresponsive or 95% unresponsive to all of these things that we do. And that's when we are in a situation that, oh hell, how do I make this work? How can I ever? Because it's so random and it's so compulsive. It's just there, stays very tightened, and there's burning sensations. It feels unnatural in every way. We have in Amrita Mandala, in the path of healing and light, we have a variety of techniques and practices, what to do and what not to do, what is useful, what is completely useless. We have practices of physical manipulation, tapping, rubbing, hammering, dancing, yoga, physical exercise spiced with mantras. Makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Keep your body in move if you're actively doing path of healing and light practices, because if you don't, it will make you paralyzed. You need to keep your body in move. You need to keep exercising. So we have physical practices. We have those mantras. We have very specific mantras, very specific gurus to work with. Mainly Hindu gurus. But also something very unique is rainbow body shamans, who have a very, very unique energy. Formalized of Padmasambhava, Tirumular and Agastya. We have the trauma healing practices such as mending, power retrieval, reverse suppression, and so on. And then we have practices like this. Now just admiring the gut, admiring the effect it has on the body, on the psyche as a whole. And later we will do again those breathing practices with Krishna that we did yesterday. from the gut, connect with the pillar below the body. Do it carefully. However you do it carefully. Sometimes you might try to switch it on like turning the light switch. Might work, might not work. Because the body-mind is organic. So connect it carefully, so that it really connects. And make sure that you touch the lowest center. Yesterday we spoke of the Mahasiddha Bhumi centers as a bundle, the three centers grouped together. Connect properly with those three, that bundle. Not only looking at it from 2 meter distance, there it is, okay, now it's connected. No, you have to go and touch with your hand. Just like when we were children, we were swimming and diving in a pool or in a lake, and we always dove to the bottom of the lake and touched the bottom with our hands. This is what we need to do. Then it will connect properly. Then you will feel it. And with that connection, again, life-changing. You feel the connection in the hands, in the feet, in the pelvic floor, in the gut center, in the heart center, in your arms, in your legs, in your whole body, in the head too. It feels so good. So much healing coming out of making this connection. It's like a pacification, pacifying a whole army of nervous, jumpy, restless troops, isn't it? And then it's so easy to just sit still and enjoy it. Take it all in. Let go into it. If you feel like the connection could be better, dive to the bottom again. Touch it again. And you can keep touching it gently. For a little while. Again, we are working with our full energy body, full subtle body, not just part of it, the full scope of it. We always had the vertical pillar made of chakras and channels. We always had the two subtle bodies and one physical one. We always had all of this. And everybody has the same subtle bodies, the same vertical pillar. But so few know about it. So few traditions know about it. But we can see that when we have the know-how, when we know about pure centers inside the body, at the extreme ends below and above, we can actually, as a simple mindfulness exercise, as a simple meditation exercise, without ever mentioning fancy terms like Mahasiddhas or Mahasiddha Bhumis or chakras or Bhumis, stuff like this. Any person, any people could do this. And the proof is in the sensation. The proof is in the experience that we're having now. No need to believe. Touch the bottom again, the third time. Enjoy it like you can go down like a deep sea submarine that they use in marine study. Going slowly down. And there are basic visualizations of both subtle bodies that I have given. How the subtle bodies look like and how this natural condition can be emulated through visualization. But that is, visualizing is not absolutely necessary, because the thing is that when you do the practice plenty, you will see yourself. You will be able to perceive their colors, their how they're composed yourself. That's the whole point of yoga, isn't it? First-hand experience, first-hand verification. But maybe to give you a little bit, as you're making the connection again with the pillar below, it's about a little bit wider than your own shoulders. This pillar that goes down, a little bit wider than your own shoulders. This large pipe, big pipe, going down. And along the way, there are these stars, these chakras, bhumis, bodhisattva grounds, mahasiddha grounds. So when you know, the reason why I mentioned that diameter of the pillar is because when you know roughly what size it is, you can kind of feel into it, feel to the full expanse of it, feel into the space where the pillar is. And that, just like what we did with the pure centers inside the body yesterday, again has an effect. Holistic effect. So another thing about the subtle bodies is that the vertical pillar is not made of meridians. It is made of nadis. So the astral body made of meridians is only inside the physical body. And nadis are inside the physical body as well as in the aura, creates the aura, as well as creates the vertical pillar. But the reason why we feel, when we connect, in this case the pillar below, we feel it in the meridian system inside the body, and even on physical we feel the effect on physical tissues, is because the three bodies communicate. It's a continuum, and they communicate. Communication goes from subtler of the bodies to the grossest, from grossest to the most subtle. It's like signals going back and forth. And there is like a spontaneous translation between the bodies. Translation of, I don't know if translation is the best word, but it gets spontaneously translated from the nadi system to meridians to physical cells to back to meridians to back to nadis. And now that we have spent, 20-30 minutes with the pillar below, don't disconnect, let it be, let it remain connected. And you can do this. I've given this tip in the Facebook Sangha that you can briefly, throughout the day, you can take 5-10 seconds and just let your attention visit below, above, both ends, to create the connection briefly. But this can also be done during sitting. When you're doing tantric practices, when you're practicing non-meditation, Ati Yoga, you can do this. You can reconnect. Why? Because we want our practice to have highest possible quality. We want to ensure that we are making the most out of our practice time, out of our practice in life. We want to ensure that our practice has perfect energetic quality, which means that we want to be sure that we cultivate our basic nature, Buddha nature, and that we don't get entangled, for we don't end up wasting our time in muddy, murky states of mind, samsaric states of mind. Not even a little bit of murkiness or muddiness. This is a very important point that I want all you my friends to understand. And you will understand it through experience, through your own practice. You realize what this purity, pure radiance, pure light, pure nature, what it really means and how it feels like. How it feels in the nadis, in the meridians, in the physical body. Okay? So now, after the pillar below, like I said, don't disconnect it, but for a moment become aware of the space inside your body, head to toe and to arms and fingers. The groundedness is there because we spend a moment in the gut. The love is there and joy is there because we spend a moment in the heart. And the clarity and sanity and sobriety is there because we spend a moment in the head. Okay, so a few moments ago I told you about the large pipe going down from your body, 5-6 meters below. Now become aware of the space of the aura around your body. Just make your awareness meet that auric space. Make the two meet. Scan through it. Up. Sides, front, back, below. Again, like we enjoyed going down with the deep sea submarine. Similarly, don't just kind of mechanically, insensitively try to connect with your aura, but kind of make love with it. That's it. Make love with it. Making love means making deep connection, deepest possible connection. In that way, touch, embody your aura. Feel into where the edges of the aura are on all sides. So now we switched from astral body to causal body, meridians to nadis, and they don't feel the same. One is like in music you have singers who have different vocal ranges. Male tenors, sing beautifully, but the range is lower than the female sopranos. It's like that. Tenor range, soprano range. So don't try to find tenor range from the aura. Well, the soprano range is also in the body because the nadis are also inside the body, but you get the point. You have to shift frequency. Lighter. Like in terms of weight, lighter. If you have developed sensitivity, you will be able to perceive and feel, see. I said 3 things. Perceive, feel, see. All 3, 2 of them or 1 of them. In one way or the other you will be able to perceive the nadi system, the causal body. Then you can see that it's the space of the aura and space inside the body has these beautiful thin channels. For example, from the center of the head expanding to the space outside the head to the aura, extending all the way to the edge of the aura. Above the head, the sides of the head, front and back of the head. And the same thing from the center line of the body, from the neck throat growing out to all directions, from the heart growing out to all directions, from the gut, from the limbs. So something that is very important with the pillar, with the pure centers, with the aura, this is not serious at all. There is most of the lineages and traditions in the world have been preserved and continued by religious men, monks, men. And this puts this very masculine touch on things, and masculine spirit, on spirituality, on dharma in general, yoga in general. relieve yourself from that kind of rigidness. In Finnish we say pönöttää. Forget that masculine stuck upness, that's the term. This is your mind, your heart, your energetics, and we are not only able, but it is necessary for us to connect with our aura in a meaningful way. And meaningful way is joyful and playful way. Loving way. So this is not like perfect mindfulness, concentration, exercise with the aura, becoming aware of. No. More like playful children. Exploring. We are allowed to be creative. So let's be creative. Let's enjoy it. And that's how it connects best. That's the thing. That's when you learn the most. When you play. That's actually a very important point. What is meaning? What makes our practice meaningful or meaningless? What makes our lives meaningful or meaningless? It is that pure emotional quality of love, goodness, that sweetness, isn't it? There is no deeper meaning to life than that. But again, it is not superficial love. Oh, I love you so much. No, it's flesh and bone and marrow love. And this is how our meditation, our practice also needs to be. Not superficial nonsense. But bone and marrow. That's actually an excellent book title. Bone and Marrow Love, isn't it? But I'm not getting that book deal. Never got one before. Feel into the aura of a few more minutes and then we'll take a short break. When you become aware of the auric space, you can also, because of the auric field is also connected, interconnected, is that the word? Is why you will feel the nadi channels inside your limbs and inside your torso as well. very joyful, blissful, natural waves, natural flow. All right, very good. Stay with the energetics. Lie down for 10-15 minutes. I'll let you know when to get up, and then we'll take a tea break for 15-20 after that. But now lie down. Can somebody go and put the kettle on? Okay, so let's continue for another 30-40 minutes before a longer break. So we've done 3 centers, pillar below, with plenty of time to reconnect it after the initial one. And then we connected the aura. Feel the body connected with the pillar below. And also let's connect with the aura. It's very nice practicing with this group because we have so many. Half of the group have a graduated aura practice, Bhumi practice. So exceptionally high quality in the group dynamic. something that we can continue with the aura a little bit is that, so there is this vertical pillar, and it's the whole full size of it is a little wider than your shoulders, like a round massive pipe going through us, below us, and above us. But it has layers inside it. And one of those layers inside it is, I call it central beam. Central beam. Central channel is different. Central channel is commonly used for the central channel in the spine. You know, left channel, right channel, and then the central channel in the spine. But central beam is the one which inside the body travels from the pelvic floor, and it's roughly 4 or 5 centimeters wide, round channel. So from the pelvic floor, meaning between your anus and genitals, straight up, passing through those 3 pure centers in the gut, in the heart, in the head, and arrives in the crown, and continues there further up, like it does continue further down. And it is from that central beam, center beam, that the nadis grow out of. Let's visualize that. Let's kind of little bit feel into that. Origination point of the nadis, how they originate from the central beam and travel out to create the aura, all the way to the edge of the aura. Scan through this image. And just like The nadis from the torso and head radiate out into the aura to create the aura. With limbs is a little different, but it's the same with all 4 limbs. So just like there is a central beam inside the torso and goes through the head, there is a smaller beam going inside arms and legs. And the nadis grow out from that beam inside the limbs and creates an aura for each of the 4 limbs. Roughly from the surface of the skin of the limbs, around half a meter on all sides. 40 centimeters, half a meter. Feels absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? And what are we doing? Just going through our subtle bodies. Just doing like a mindfulness exercise on our subtle bodies. Imagine if we were taught this on our first or second meditation lesson. Imagine if everybody was taught this right from the beginning. It's quite good with the aura of the limbs. I'm talking about the whole group. We tapped into good fishing waters. So lots of inactive areas of the subtle body, inactive, unaddressed. But when we did go into these areas, these waters, lovely, isn't it? But at the same time, sleepiness coming. Drowsiness. There is hei kuule, hei, tule vaan. There is a mantra, 4 syllables, Om Ah Hum Hu, that we have chanted many years on retreats. Om being the root syllable of the pure meridian system, astral body. Ah being the seed syllable of 11th bhumi, corresponding to clarity aspect. Hum, seed syllable of 10 bhumis, 1 through 10. And Hu, seed syllable of 13th. So we have chanted these 4 syllables a lot through the years. So let's first chant them a little, just like we did yesterday with Krishna's mantra. And after little chanting, let's rub it into the body. So I'll chant them twice. Om, Ah, Hum, Hu. All right. Om Ahum Hum. Om Ahum Hum. Om Ahum Hum. Om Ahum Hum. Feel free to chant in your own rhythm. All right, and then we continue to rubbing 5 to 10 minutes. Sit or stand. Hum, hum, Find your own rhythm. And be sure that the massaging, rubbing you're doing with your hands and fingers is connected to that chanting, internal chanting, that the two meet, that the two are united. Would make a brilliant, like, Facebook profile picture. Yeah, exactly. Like you can't make that pose. Like, it has to be. In Finland, when we go to sauna, we use these. We take branches with fresh leaves, branches of birch trees, and we make these big bundles. And then we go to sauna, hot sauna, where it's plus 80, plus 90 degrees Celsius, and then we beat ourselves up with these birch bundles. It's close to as hot here, and it kind of reminded me of this, being all sweaty. But it feels like this, doesn't it? And to make it sound even a bit weirder, we are of course nude in the sauna. We don't have sauna here down in Slovenia, but I kind of have little plans of buying one, putting it on the yard. Barrel sauna. There's the hammer.
Do you want to use it now?
Yeah.
Oh, you do that.
One minute. Kedar here started using a hammer, and as a comment to that, well, obviously you have to get used to using it, you have to learn it, you can't start banging your head like this, but you can hit like this, tapping with a hammer. Humma, 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 humma. So like small taps. You can even, maybe in the beginning it's good to play on the safe side, but so when you come to eyes, for example, you massage with hands, but you can also tap the eyes with a hammer. I do that, tapping all these gums, face, ears, and then when you get to the thicker parts, then you can, but you have to follow your own, like what feels good to you. But then you just combine mantras. And this goes much deeper, obviously, than what you get with rubbing. That's the whole point. I see that many of you, if not most, online have hammers. Tomorrow is Monday, so we'll get hammers for all of you from the local hardware store. Because I want you to get it. Okay, but let's sit a little bit, few moments. May all beings be free. May all beings be happy, content, at ease. And may all beings get the benefit from our practice. Palm to palm. Before we finish and start the break, I want to say something about what we do with these like dynamic healing exercises, rubbing, hammering, and so on. I've thought about this a lot, and on the Buddhist side of things, there are absorption meditations, jhanas, that are practiced by in Theravada school belonging to the Hinayana vehicle, and then even some schools of Mahayana practice jhanas. On the Hindu side of things, it is just spoken of as samadhi, different types of samadhis. Often they speak of savikalpa samadhi, sometimes nirvikalpa. But these meditative states of meditative absorptions, where Buddhist practitioners spend lots of time to get to fruition of the practice. And same thing on the Hindu side. And the last few days I've thought about examples of this, of some Hindu gurus, recent ones who have done that. Everybody knows Ramana Maharishi. He meditated 22 years, 23 hours a day in a cave soon after his initial awakening at the age of 16. So 22 years, 23 hours a day. And then he came out of the cave. And I think he came out, I haven't actually checked his photos, but I think that Ramana Maharishi had a pure meridian system, although he wasn't that advanced with bhumis, but that his body was pure because of that jhanic samadhi meridian absorption meditations. Another example is very famous Hindu yogi called Shiva Balayogi, who he passed away maybe like mid-90s, 96, 97, something like that. And he spent 17 or 18 years, 23 hours a day. He sat so much that his wrists that he was holding like this against his thighs, so his wrists were turned like this. He lost his ability to move his hands. But he purified his meridians. So 17, 18 years, all day, every day, no sleeping, just sitting in those samadhis, jhanic samadhis. Third example, still alive, is this. She is viewed as an embodiment of the Divine Mother, Karunamayi. And I don't remember how many years she meditated, but many years. So it is possible, if we just sat and got our meridian systems going, get it activated and just sat there, it would be possible through that very slow meditative, very slow purification process to purify it, to graduate with purification. But history tells us that it takes a lot of time. Hence the saying, no samadhi for bodhisattvas. So the reason why we do what we do is to make sure that the charge goes through both subtle bodies and the physical tissues. This is, I've spoken with Amrita deities, I've spoken about the Amrita factor. Do you remember? So in the context of what we do with rubbing, hammering, it means that we don't want the energy to remain in the meridian system like it did in this session before the chanting, like it did yesterday before the chanting. We wanted to get it and be sure that it goes through the whole organism, body and mind, in every session. And I once counted how many hours roughly Ramana Maharishi meditated in a cave, and it's something like 180,000. And I think that when we understand that the point of practice is not to stay in a state of meditation, but to do the opposite actually. To both break the bubbles created by samsara and trauma, delusion and trauma, but also to pop the bubbles of meditation. Then we have a very different understanding of purification and very different time frame of getting results. So, I mean, if we think of 20 years for a layperson who has 2 or 3 hours a day for practice, and if we had to sit 150,000 hours, we would run out of time. We couldn't do that. But with this understanding, it's a completely different thing. So the time is ticking. Let's see how long it takes. It's now 6:15. Let's take a meal break for an hour and a half and continue at 7:45. Is that right? 7:45. We might be a little late with the latter session, so it might stretch a little bit after 9. Okay? Hour and a half. See you then. Thank you. Okay. At the end of the previous session, we found nice fishing spot from the auras of the limbs. But we've covered everything else except the half of the main pillar above the head. So let's do that. But first, take a moment to feel your body. Just completely stop for a moment. Heart, gut and head all together. Whole body unified. Meaning whole body as one piece. Aura around the body. Pillar below. And then pillar above. Don't be in a hurry when connecting. And again, make sure that you touch that bundle of 11, 12, 13. That you really touch it, not only briefly tap, but really make the connection firmly. Again, you can feel into the not only the core of the pillar, but the full scope of it, the full breadth of it, width of it. Very naturally, spontaneously, the eyes tend to turn upwards. And it's definitely helpful if you, what I've noticed over the years is that sometimes people's eyes are gazing downwards while they're trying to make connection up, and then it doesn't connect well. But then when they turn eyes even slightly upwards, the connection is made. Something that we use in Amrita Kriya is turning of the eyes, which is called Shambhavi Mudra. But the point is not only in turning the eyes. The point is connecting the energy currents that go to the physical eyes, connecting that current to that vertical pillar. So even though the eyes are looking to the forehead, the energy current is actually connecting with the completely vertical pillar. Usually people find much easier to perceive the pillar above, made of energy and made of light, being able to see it made of light, than the pillar below. And I think this is because of the energetic, counterpart of eyes, our visual perception. Subtle visual perception. There's a term for that in yogic language, but I don't remember what it is. But the energetics of eyes is what it means. Another thing that spontaneously happens is that people tend to turn their faces slightly towards towards the sky, kind of tilting their heads, not turning faces, but tilting their heads, so that the chin comes a little out. Just like with the pure centers inside the body, just let the pure energy, the pure centers above the head that connect with the centers inside the body, with the rest of the body, just let it do its thing. Just remain aware, be aware, and admire it. Just like I'm admiring the opening of a flower bud. Even if you feel the charge, the connection very well, let's still connect again and again. Make sure that you touch. Let your mind move. Now that you start moving the mind, letting attention ascend like a gas balloon slowly rises directly upwards. Make sure you again touch that highest point properly and touch it for a moment, few moments, until letting go of that. And again connect. Third time. So we've used now over 3 hours of going through the anatomy of our subtle bodies. That is there all the time, that we always had. And as you can understand through this session, when you know how to make connections properly with the pure centers inside the body and outside the body, all four so-called dantians, four, oh, if I remember correctly, the Sanskrit term is khanda, might be wrong. But when you know how to make the connection properly, it is a very profound experience, very profound cultivation. I don't think anyone who joined this session can say otherwise. And why it is so? Because this is the so-called enlightened nature, pure nature, Buddha nature, the nature of immortality. And these subtle bodies we always have, throughout the day, throughout the night, throughout all kinds of activities, during leisure time, when relaxing, when meditating, when exercising. When making love, at all times. We chanted a little bit earlier today, but not that much. And if you now, like we've done a couple of times already since yesterday, now if you compare or look at meridian system in comparison to physical tissues, again there is a gap. How we dealt with it before, chanting and rubbing. So we still have 30 minutes. I think we will be a little over time. But let's do a longer session chanting together. So what I suggest we do is that we can't make a perfect circle here, but make like an ellipse. So Helena, come here on this side, Asher here. You can move the light a little bit if it's on your way. So we chanted with one exhalation, we chanted Om Ah Hum Hus. Let's now do one syllable per exhalation. This is how we usually chant on retreats. So one exhalation Om, second exhalation Ah, third Hum, fourth Hu, and then it starts from the beginning. You can sing in your any pitch you like, doesn't have to be the same as mine, and your own rhythm also. So don't follow others' rhythm. The idea only is that you inhale deeply and then let a long sound out. And you let the sound come out in a really open manner, really relaxed manner. So don't hold back. So we will chant maybe 15-20 minutes. So enjoy it. Let's begin. Now you can again observe the relation of the physical tissues and subtle tissues. How the tissues meet each other. And then let's do like a quick rubbing, just 2 minutes. Mantras internally. Whole body in 2 minutes. It doesn't take much, does it? That the body again. Oh, yeah. So there can be sleepiness in the body, like there was in the whole group, but then the sleepiness pops away when body wakes up. And then sit down again and see how you feel. Yesterday we did those breathing practices from below, from above. Let's do a variation now with Vajra body. So Just to remind you, with Vajra body, you inhale, you hold the breath, and as you hold the breath, you squeeze, tense, flex all muscles of the body. And then you exhale and relax. So let's inhale from the star high above your head. Inhale down to the heart. Hold the breath, flex muscles, relax. Let's do this 5 times from the heart. You can sit or stand, however you prefer. Please start. And when you hold the breath, say the mantra a few times, the syllables. Five times altogether. After 5, take a moment of break. Let breathing calm down a bit. And then we will do another 5, inhaling from the pillar below to the gut, to the belly. 5 to the belly. Go ahead. And then sit down. for the benefit of all beings. May all beings be free. May all beings be happy. Let's chant Lokaha mantra. Inhale. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Great. Palm to palm.